flag flies, and we are underway here at Kentucky. Brody Gunter gets a nice jump on the restart and able to get out in front of Miranda there through the first turn. The drivers, Tommy talked about drivers getting tight, especially early on here. A couple of them flirting with the wall throughout the field already. But, oh, the caution is out. Brody Gunter looks like he's lost a couple wheels, is sideways on the backstretch here. Rutherford just looks like he gets tight, starts going up the racetrack, makes contact with that left rear of Brody Gunter. Watson has been trying underneath, above Wagner, trying anything he can to get a run on Matt Wagner to get to third. Nothing has been able to happen for him. Oh, contact! Hunter Ingraves around here out of turn 4. These two, oh, they make contact. Muscarella's up in the wall. He hits it again. Muscarella's going to drop like a rock. The two of them nearly got completely connected. I thought Miranda was going to go around as well. It didn't happen. Watson trying to take the top spot away from Bruno Miranda. Whoa, nearly contact there between the top two. Watson edges out in front across the line this time. 4 laps to go. Whoa, nearly contact between the leaders again. Two to go if there's not an incident. Oh, contact between Watson and Miranda. Watson up the racetrack. Schlosser looks underneath. Is that the nail in the coffin, or will James Watson have an opportunity to make a run here? White flag is out. 1 lap around for James Watson to try to take the victory from Miranda. Really no help from behind for either one. Through turns 3 and 4, Watson will try to use the momentum. Can he do it for 2 in a row? I don't know who has it at the line. Timing and scoring says that it's James Watson. Watson goes for 2 in a row here at Kentucky. What an unbelievable finish to this race.
A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Not open here, Willow. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The dungeon labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
An empty plastic bottle would give you 50 cents. A soda can, 60 cents. A used food container, 80. Wondering why I know this? Because that's my job. I am a trash picker at my school.
Harry, the trash prince is on a roll today. And how was your trashy affair with Bella coming? She lets you kiss her with that stink?
Their words don't bother me. They don't know why I do what I do. And my secret. I edge close to my class when I hear Bella and her friend talking.
You can't be serious, Bella. You want me to break up with him for you?
I would do it myself if his poverty didn't give me the creeps.
You are unbelievable.
I come face to face with Bella's friend. She knew I heard the conversation and couldn't meet my eyes. She hands me the new phone I bought for Bella and walks away. I saved for months to buy her this phone. I walk down the empty corridor with a heavy heart, pick the phone out of the box, slip my SIM in, and switch it on. When... Harry Parker, you have passed the poverty test? You are now the heir to Parker family's billions worth of assets?
If Harry is a billionaire, why does he work as a trash picker? What is his big secret? Why did he not reveal his billionaire status to Bella? To know more, listen to the audio series Destiny Reloaded, only on Pocket FM.
Presentation.
This is the Daredevil series from Willow Springs Raceway, only on Turn 200.
Welcome, one and all, to the traveling show that is the Daredevil. Tonight, we've wound up on the West Coast, back to Willow Springs, for the first time in series history, for the second time here on the channel. And it is great to be back up in the booth, out of the car, where I've never deserved to be in the first place. But excited to be back. It's Tommy Cook, and it is the man who held the fort last week while I was dipping my toes in misery. Matt Williamson, welcome back to the booth in your regular role. Appreciate the effort last week. It was a fantastic race that you got again. You always get the classic races here on the channel, and I am a bit jealous.
Yeah, it's like I gotta have at least one that I'm the main play-by-play guy, because we always have just an absolute banger of a race. But it absolutely was, and the best part about it was the two championship contenders were the two really battling it out there at the end. I mean, it was just absolutely spectacular.
Well, it was a close finish at the line last week, 10 one-thousandths of a second, tied for the third closest finish in series history, and that made the championship standings that much tighter as well.
It certainly did, and here is a look at the point standings after round number 8. It almost quite literally doesn't get any closer than this. I think there is a scenario if you finish way down the field that you only score 5 points, but I mean, 10 points in this with this scale of point system is just absolutely insane. And where does that 10 points actually come, Tommy? Because you told me the other day, and I just couldn't believe it.
Well, the 10 points from Bruno Miranda, that difference there came from finishing in 10th place in the Nashville Super Speedway sprint race. So Bruno finished 10th. He was the last driver to score points in that. James did not score points in that race. So that is where the points differential comes in right now.
So if we don't have a sprint format, we are literally tied going into 2 rounds to go. That's just absolutely crazy. You see some red numbers here. Those are the folks that are going to be out of championship contention. Nicholas Isidro, Matt Wagner in 3rd and 4th. Still mathematically possible, but after tonight, I'm not sure. We'll just put it that way. I'm not sure Matt Wagner's even here today either. So,
no.
So really, Isidro's the only other one in mathematical contention, but really, we're looking at Bruno, we're looking at James Watson, and it is going to be a dogfight here for 2 more weeks.
Yeah, and Nicholas Isidro never missed a race in series history, and maybe this is me beckoning him right now, but he is not in here yet. Still, usually one of the last people to arrive in the session, but with 2 minutes left to go, we will have to see. Only 15 drivers in here tonight. It's one of the smaller fields we've ever had in series history. And I think this is a lesson to anybody who is a league operator out there that happens to be watching this broadcast. Interlagos, Truck 200, 14 drivers. Suzuka, Daredevil Series last season, 14 drivers. Tonight at Willow Springs, 15 drivers. Don't put your favorite tracks on the schedule. Schedule with the drivers in mind, which is exactly what we're going to do. For any of the Daredevil Series drivers who are not here right now, but are in our Discord, of course, you will have the opportunity to vote on the Season 5 schedule starting tonight after the conclusion of this race. We've got a couple, you and I, we gave up the majority scheduling, but we did pick a few tracks. But 7 out of the 10 races on the calendar next season are picked by the drivers. So, pretty exciting stuff coming up here.
Yeah, certainly looking forward to know what the drivers want to have on the schedule. Finally going to have a lot of returning tracks here next season, I think. We've been trying to spice it up, get to some new tracks here this last season, but we're just kind of opening it up to the drivers to choose their favorites, and we're going to have some absolute classics going to be coming back, I think.
Yeah, I think out of the 22 races that we've run or will have run since we took the series over, I think only 5 of them were returning tracks, maybe give or take 1. I haven't done the exact math on that, but the majority of the races next season will be returning tracks. The super majority, actually. Only a couple new tracks will be on the schedule. It's going to be pretty exciting next season. It's going to be exciting as well with a 10-point differential coming into tonight, and some drivers in some interesting spots on this starting grid, which will be finalized here with about 10 seconds to go. Thank you to everybody that's watching and hanging out with us already. Of course, the Rutherfords' last-minute entries tonight. Looks like their internet is back up and at least good enough to hack it here tonight at Willow Springs. Hopefully it stays that way. Shout out to Goodleaf, as always, hanging out with us in the chat as well. And Matt Williamson, shout out to you as we get ready to go to the starting grid. It is time for Brody Gunter to lead the field of green once again. He will line up on pole position with Hunter Engrave to his outside. A strong showing at Sonoma earlier this season. Similar vibe to that track here tonight. James Watson, the reigning champion, the championship hopeful, 10 points down, entering tonight. He will line up in 3rd with Matt Schlosser, who got bumped off the podium late last week, starting in P4. Bruno Miranda and Cody Claiborne on row number 3. Those are 2 drivers that we always look for at the road courses. Miranda won at Sonoma earlier this season, currently the points leader. Dakota DeMade and Victor Aldrich on row number 4. Top 10 finish for Aldrich last week. He was pretty excited about how his Kentucky went. Derek Wright and Christopher Kresge then on row number 5. It's Joshua Rutherford and Zach Flaum back proper in the race this time for realsies P12. Nate Siefker, the last driver to register here tonight, he's back. He's in 13th. Corey Rutherford in 14th. And Kyler Thomas making his series debut here tonight. Teammates with Derek Wright. He will line up at the back of the field, P15. Alrighty, track conditions here as the sun is starting to lower, not setting, but getting a little bit lower there on the horizons.
Yeah, track temperature right now is going to continue to get a little bit cooler. Right now it's at 82 degrees, and this track, it's a very fast track. So the cooler it can be for these drivers, the better it's going to be, because they're going to be carrying a lot of speed through these corners. We got 30 laps here tonight around Willow Springs. We do have a 17X pass through. 25X is going to be a disqualification. Lots of off tracks in practice, by the way, so that could maybe be a potential. We'll have to see. We're at 25% fuel capacity, so they can go a majority of this race without having to come down pit road. They can make it maybe to lap 23, 24 before having to come down, so they can stretch it pretty much as long as they want to here, and no fast repairs. I don't know if we'll have to use it. I mean, I don't know if that's really going to be a big issue because there's lots of runoff area, but regardless, they're not going to happen.
You could find ways to make annoyances for yourself here at this track. We'll just put it that way. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of things you can run into, or at least run into very hard. It almost feels like this track was constructed. It was one of the first club circuits in the United States, constructed in the late 50s, I do believe. So, I mean, this track just feels like it was found. Like, the property owner walked out to this part of the acreage one day and just saw a racetrack here and was like, yep, this is my life now. This is this track. This is a great circuit. It's a callback to some of the great early circuits that are no longer with us, Bridgehampton and Riverside in particular. It's a great circuit. 2.5 miles, and we're doing it in just over a minute. I mean, it is fast. It is dangerous. It's only been on iRacing for, I think this is its 3rd season of operation now, but I mean, it's going to be a staple more and more in the turn 200 rotation, hopefully, and hopefully tonight will go to prove that. Well, it's yet to be determined.
Well, with those quick lap times, I mean, this almost feels like a sprint race, so these drivers are going to feel like they have to get after it. That intensity is going to ramp up quickly here. Drivers trying to get their tires warmed up a little bit here.
Some drivers with some things still to prove, some boxes still to tick here. Brady Gunter is one of them, looking for his first win in the series. Hunter Engrave looking to finish as good as he can in the points. They're on the front row. They are headed to Castro Corner. We're racing at Willow Springs. The Daredevils are on them. And from the outside pole, Engrave looking to make it stick. Has to check up just a bit. That's going to allow Gunter some real estate on the outside here into 2 and 3.
Oh, and a huge blink from Gunter. Gunter.
He's back.
He's back. Wow.
I was a bit nervous there as we went through the rabbits here. Now, yeah. Up through Budweiser balcony now. One of the weirder corners in all of racing. But Gunter with some separation now. After fending off Hunter Engrave early in the going. Oh, Christopher Kresge off track. Going to drop back through the field. Not sure he's going to hit anything, but he's gone around.
Here comes Miranda looking to the inside of Schlosser. Miranda gets that spot right now.
And that moves Miranda behind James Watson, who is running not the usual yellow and pink tonight, but running the black, as that's Rutherford and Flaum who have gotten together. And it looked like Rutherford was riding on top of Zach Flaum there, just from my vantage point. I think they're still going to continue.
Dakota DeMade trying to make a move on Cody Claiborne. Nate Siefker right here in the mix with those drivers as well. This is for the 6th position.
DeMade, I think one of the drivers who bought this track today is Claiborne and DeMade synchronized spinning there nearly. And now we're 2 by 2.
Yeah, they were both able to save it, but Siefker gets around, and now they're side by side.
I mean, maybe the worst place on the track to be side by side, and they were side by side 2 in a row there. Not by choice, though.
That is such a goofy section. You got that really weird, the track gets tight there on that left-hander, then you go uphill and around, back downhill. It's almost like a berm in Supercross. It's like, it's so crazy.
Well, Zach Flaum found a wall, unfortunately. He is towed back to the pits. Hunter Engrave dipped a tire off out of turn number 9. In his pursuit of Brody Gunter, Gunter has opened it up to over a second. Over Engrave, who has James Watson closing up pretty quick here. But now Watson fading back into the clutches of his championship rival, Bruno Miranda.
Yeah, this is the battle we're going to be watching really all night as we go along. This is the one that in the championship standings has the meaning to it. These drivers know it. And I think historically we would give the upper hand to Miranda on a road course. But Watson out-qualifies and has looked good thus far.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Miranda was second quickest in practice. But that did not lend itself to the qualifying time, and seemingly so far does not quite have what the top 3 have. But still a long way to go here. Lap number 4 up on the board of 30. Took a couple of laps for Miranda to get it in gear at Sonoma, but once he did, he was nearly untouchable. The only driver that was faster at any point was Hunter Engrave.
We're going to go ahead and go on board here with Miranda. Maybe take a lap or so around with them. They're coming out of Budweiser right now. We're going to go on board after he gets down to the bottom of the hill.
Through Monroe Ridge, headed to the Wings leg, which sets you up for the sweeper. One of the best sweepers, one of the first sweepers.
And it's a long sweeper.
And the aptly named Turn 9, the final turn of the circuit. Here at Big Willow, there are other configurations of this track, but they're not on iRacing.
You look out in front of Miranda, the front 2, Engrave and Gunter started getting close together. Engrave made a huge mistake there somewhere.
Well, Gunter just barely dipped the tire off. Engrave sent the whole right side of the car into the dirt there, but it only lost him a little bit of time. As, now he is loose. Really had to hang on to it into Budweiser. Had the rears hung out on that one.
And here's Budweiser. You can hear how much Miranda has to get off the throttle. Back end of the car gets pretty light up there on the hill as well. You got to be real careful.
I just want to say, I didn't make this setup. This is a stock iRacing setup. Indianapolis will be a stock iRacing setup next week as well. So direct your ire elsewhere. It's not my fault this time. For legal reasons.
Yes.
As always.
That's probably good when we got a championship this close, you know?
Yeah, I like to say it was on purpose.
By the way, shout out to Brian cheering on Derek Wright. Derek is currently in 8th place right now. He's up a position or 2. And Goodleap says that somebody casted an invisibility spell on Brody Gunter there for a moment.
That would make sense.
Wouldn't put it past anybody in this field.
No. Jeff Mathis would be the one to know how to do that, and he is not here, at least on track. Maybe he's watching.
Miranda closing in on Watson there through Budweiser.
Miranda won at Sonoma. Watson finished on the podium there, but Miranda did have to work through Watson at one point in that race as well. So will have to do it again here. Speeds upwards of 140 miles an hour there. Through the sweeper in turn number 9. Brody Gunter sets the purple lap, quickly followed by Hunter Engrave. And now to the outside goes Miranda looking for third.
Oh!
That's the puzzle piece you don't want to put together there. Watson avoids the contact, and Miranda will move up into a podium spot and regain the points lead. Lap traffic already for the leaders. Gunter navigates.
Oh,
I believe Kyler Thomas. Oh,
got off track there.
Yeah, Watson's lost a fair bit of time already to Miranda. Gunter was a bit more affected by that than Engrave, though. Engrave closing back within 0.7 of a second, nearly half a second now, as they cross the stripe.
Oh! Gunter dips 2 tires off, nearly goes around, but loses tons of time.
Joshua Rutherford has just pounded the barriers in Budweiser balcony. He will be out of the race, certainly. As here we go, Engrave a lot deeper there. Set it up for Budweiser now, headed down the hill. Brody Gunter was leading at Sonoma earlier this season when he got collected in lap traffic. Took him out of contention for the race, still finished, multiple laps down, albeit. That seems to be the story of his season of late. Running up front, running well, getting caught up in accidents. And he and Hunter Engrave seem to have crossed paths multiple times this season, despite being seemingly good friends.
Well, Engrave is being absolutely relentless right now. Is applying the pressure greatly here to Gunter. Gunter, last time around through that last corner, dipped the tires off. I don't know how he didn't spin out. Had to have had tons of sand on the tires.
These two have left Bruno Miranda in the dust to the tune of about 3 seconds. So they've got nothing to worry about as of now. Pit stop's looming ahead in probably 10 laps or so. Joshua Rutherford in the chat saying that's too bad. Can't race with 3 wheels. Yeah, it certainly helps to have that 4th wheel attached. I can tell you that from experience today. Reflection X 88 is my husband. All right. Shout out to Derek Wright hanging in the top 10 here.
And Derek is closing in a little bit here on Claiborne. Other than Engrave and Gunter up at the front, that is the closest battle on the track right now.
Speaking of Gunter at the front, he just piped in the purple lap at 105.668. Engrave's still lurking here.
There have been some very close calls for the top 10, but really haven't been any big problems thus far. I think the biggest problems we've had happened outside of the top 10 when Rutherford and Flaum got together.
Yeah, retirements from Joshua Rutherford and Zach Flaum, but that is all. As of yet, anyway. About to complete lap number 11. I think Corey Rutherford just had a bit of an off track and lost the spot to Christopher Kresge. It's cool to see both of the Rutherfords finish right next to each other last week at Kentucky. I think they went 6th and 7th with Joshua leading the way there. Of course, you'll... Go ahead.
Trying to fight back and get that spot back from Kresge. keep an eye on it as we roll along here. That battle between Wright and Claiborne is cooled off just a bit. Wright lost quite a bit of time that last lap around.
Speaking of the Rutherfords, not too early to mention that we're not going to have too many free Wednesdays between the end of Daredevil and the beginning of the ASRL Sports Car Championship. It is season number 4, I think. It's our second season here on Turn 200. That's really what's important. So canonically, it's season 2 for us. Hunter Engrave, I think, got way out of shape there, out of turn number 9, dipped the tire off, and that gap has doubled, if not tripled.
Yeah, it's tripled for sure. It was about half a second, now over a second and a half.
And Nate Siefker's gotten through on Victor Aldrich, so moves Siefker up to 9th with no practice. I'd say that's pretty impressive. Oh, and Siefker just gone off and goes around. And I think Aldrich went around as well.
Oh, no.
I think somebody's dropping oil.
Aldrich able to keep it on the track, and you know what? A little bit farther back there, it looks like some folks have been off track previously, and there is some dirt on the racing
on the
surface.
track.
I'm wondering if it's very, very slick through that section now.
Well, turn 9 is so hard. It has a fake apex and no runoff at all. I mean, there's no runoff any track, but you think you can push way harder than you can out of the final turn, and I mean, it will come to bite you most of the time that you don't respect it. Just like Gunter. Gunter just tipped the tire off there. I don't think he picked up an incident point for it, but, I mean, that's still kicking up dust, to your point.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard enough to not push it out into the gravel proper like Gunter just did again.
Just did.
Not
that
sure
one,
how the track limits are here, but if you do that on every single lap, you're going to get disqualified by the end of it, so got to be careful with those off tracks.
Well, that's just the thing, too. The incident points, not only can you not pick up too many or you'll get disqualified, but, I mean, here there is literally no runoff anywhere. You happen to run off on the entry to pit road. I mean, this is just a punishing track if you go off track. You'll pick up damage or spin yourself out. It's inevitable.
And then you really got to tiptoe to get back on the racing surface.
Well, I think the problems have continued for Nate Siefker. He's found his way back off track and into a barrier, picked up a meatball flag, so put another one in the Nate Siefker curse jar because I talked about him literally one time tonight and he crashed twice. So, I mean, that is just directly my fault at this point. It's not even up for debate.
Here's Cody Claiborne closing in on Dakota DeMade. We talked about Wright had closed in on Claiborne. Claiborne has found another gear here. Claiborne, I don't think Wright is losing time. I think Claiborne is just picking it up. He has started sailing towards Dakota DeMade to try to get that 6th position.
The stats do not do Cody Claiborne justice in the Daredevil series. I think he's one of our most lauded road course racers and just does not have the finishes to go with it. As, Corey Rutherford has gone around in Budweiser and brings it back onto the track in amongst the leaders. Yeah, Cody Claiborne, really, really fast. He's had bad luck here this season, especially at Sonoma, an early exit there. We'll see what he can do here on the Season 1 champ. Looking for 6th. Now, strategy-wise, we're coming to the halfway point of the race. Do you pit on lap 15? Do you run this tank out?
You know, I mean, to me, I feel like you would probably run it out. I mean, I guess it depends on how you're feeling about your stint, if you need a reset or not. I don't know if it's going to be that consequential, in my opinion. They're not taking tires. They're just getting fuel. I mean, if you're feeling good right now, you're burning fuel. You're going to start running some quicker laps here as the fuel runs off. I mean, if you're in a good spot in your run right now, I would say just keep going. But if you're struggling, maybe need a mental reset, take those 40 seconds to get down pit road, get back on the track, and try to, buckle down for the second half here.
We always show the logos on the lower third of Mullet Music Productions, who do the great, fantastic theme tune for us here for the Daredevil series, but also Whiplash Simcams. Shout out to Andrew and everybody over at Whiplash Simcams for providing the cameras for us every single race here for the Daredevil series. Link to their Discord is in the description if you like what you see here. Great camera packages all around, showing you the scenes of the penultimate round of the championship here for Daredevil Series Season number 4. A tight championship battle right now. The championship 1-2, run 3-4. Miranda leading Watson.
Ingraves found a little bit of speed. He's been able to cut into that gap. I think the gap was 1.6 seconds after Engrave had that big incident. And he's got it down to where at some points... Oh, no! He has trouble in front of him.
I think that was Kyler, if I'm not mistaken, or Christopher Kresge. No, it was Kyler Thomas, yeah. Caught him in an awkward spot there. Kyler, I think, tried to stay to the side, but that was right where Engrave wanted to be. And a big closing right there.
Wow, so just as Engrave had put the work in to get it down underneath the second, it's now over the 1.6 second mark. So Engrave really has a lot of work to do here going into the second half of the race.
The ebbs and flows of Big Willow. It giveth and it taketh. Not a whole lot of operating space anywhere other than the front stretch here. But you got to use it all to be fast.
Here's James Watson. Watson's still in the fourth. He's pretty much been putting in very similar lap times to Bruno Miranda. Sits about 1.6 to 1.7s behind Miranda right now. But those two really haven't gotten away or gotten close to each other. But they're both working through lap traffic just like we saw there with Engrave. So maybe a little bit of ebbing and flowing, like Tommy said, might happen between this battle as well.
Working lap number 17, Gunter. Rounded the sweeper and turn number 9. When will he make the move to pit road? It's going to be a very short race, just over half an hour, I'm guessing. We're only 18 minutes and 50 seconds into it here. Gap is up to 2 seconds for Gunter. Nine drivers on the lead lap. Next one up for Brody Gunter will be Victor Aldrich. He's got some work to do to catch him. Somebody just plunged off track, and it's Corey Rutherford. Way out in no man's land. Oh, Christopher Kresge and Kyler Thomas have gotten together in Budweiser as well.
Oh, and Kresge has to make a big save.
Dakota DeMade goes off in Budweiser.
Wow. It's,
These tires are getting hot, and this track is getting a bit disgusting, to say the least. Oh, Bruno Miranda is off. James Watson off as well. They're both back on without further issue. It's monkey see, monkey do.
I think that's just the product of these folks pushing as hard as they have to. I mean, this is a sprint race, really, when you look at it. It's a half hour is probably going to be our shortest race of the season. Might be our shortest race ever in the Daredevil series. So this seems very quick to these drivers. Only 12 laps left. I feel like they got to go now if they're going to make something happen.
Well, and in terms of distance, 30 laps, 2.5 miles, is right on the number of what we normally shoot for. But that doesn't take into account the average speed being way higher here. I think it's probably our second or third highest speed track that we've gone to. Of course, the Monza combined being the number 1. Yeah, it is going to be right around the 35-minute mark, which will put it in the bottom 3 shortest races ever in the Daredevil series.
And that's just a product of this track. I mean, you just don't have to really get that slowed down for any of these corners. I think the slowest you get to is up at the top of the hill at Budweiser when you got to kind of tiptoe through there. But, I mean, even then, it's not like you're getting down to 35, 40 miles an hour. I mean, you're still carrying a lot of speed. So it's just the speed that these corners allow this car to have.
First driver onto pit road is the Season 1 champ, the Arby's Annihilator himself, Dakota DeMade. And Hunter Engrave, last time through Castrol Corner, put all 4 tires in the dirt. There's a 4-wheel slide for the driver in second. And Engrave going to pit. Really had to lock him up there. As he comes to pit road, Brody Gunter with the purple lap. Just 97 1/1000ths above a sub 105. Oh, Christopher Kresge and Cody Claiborne are way off of the track. They've brought it back on.
Yeah, Cody Claiborne's going to come down pit road. I don't know if that was planned or maybe just happenstance of getting off track and going, oh, I might as well come now.
I mean, he was so far off there, I don't think he had a choice. I think if he would have tried to bring it back on, he would have hit the pit wall.
Engrave has come out in front of Derek Wright, so currently in 5th right now before the pit cycle.
Gunter with a comfortable lead now. Back to Miranda, who is assumed second.
And here comes Gunter.
Oh. Gunter from the top spot. Cody Claiborne, black flag on pit exit.
Bruno Miranda stays out. James Watson down pit road this time.
Watson's race, he's with Miranda. You want any kind of advantage that you can get heading into not only a season finale, but one at Indy as well.
Yeah, Indy, we've seen it in previous seasons. Anything can happen there for sure. I think as long as you stay within a couple of positions of Miranda here, you're going to be just fine. You just got to make sure you do your job next week.
Gunter out with no issues. He's ahead of Hunter Engrave. And as they go past the timing line, Engrave did gain a little bit of the time lost back, but it's still over 2 seconds up to Gunter, who should cycle out to the lead. Gunter had to make an evasive maneuver around lap traffic, flashbacks to Sonoma, but he does it with no contact and keeps it on the tarmac. I mean,
wow.
Deja vu. Holy cow. I was watching it all fall apart right there once again, but history corrected itself this time.
Here comes Bruno Miranda down pit road. Matt Schlosser in as well. Derek Wright going to be in. This is going to be pretty much everybody other than Victor Aldrich, I think.
And Wright will pick up a black flag on pit entry. Cody Claiborne has served his.
Engrave off track a little bit more significantly than we've seen in the past there out of turn 1.
Engrave is pushing hard, especially in turn number 1. Seemed to be his trouble spot in practice, just as the word trouble spot is my trouble spot, apparently. That and horseradish. Engrave pushed it really hard through Castro Corner, a lot through practice. You could certainly lose a lot of time through there, but you'll lose a lot more if you push too hard and send it out into the dirt.
James Watson has closed a little bit of that time. The gap between him and Miranda for a majority of this race has been around the 2.5 marker, now down to 1 second.
Dare I say, championship implications.
You better not.
I was just hypothesizing.
Continues to pull closer here.
Yeah.
Miranda, a bit of traffic in front. Rutherford's going to let him through.
This is right at the point that Watson wants to be pushing. Maybe didn't get all of it there. Out of the corner. Right there in front of Miranda. More problems with Watson.
I think Miranda thought he was going to have to go around the outside of Wright. Wright was trying to give him the inside.
Oh, and they're wrecking behind Wright and Rutherford.
The Watson was already getting close. That gap was shrinking pretty significantly, and it has all but shrunk completely at this point. James has got to be careful not to push it too hard here, though. I know he sees it in front of him and wants to take that championship lead going into the last round, but finishing one position behind Miranda is a heck of a lot better than finishing 5 or 6.
The crises being averted left and right here at this point for Miranda and for Gunter. Engrave eking into the gap for the lead, though, right now. It's back under 2 seconds. And Miranda trying to put some distance between he and Watson.
This thing's going to be over before we know it. Only 6 laps to go right now.
And coming to 5 for Gunter here through turn 9. And Derek Wright has retired after the contact there with Corey Rutherford.
Down there out of Budweiser and through the sweeping turn 8. Watson got really close. He's off track now. Oh, and he just lost about a half a second there.
Lost exactly half a second, actually, through the scoring loops. And these guys are on their own island right now. It's 12 seconds from Miranda up to the battle for the lead. It's 12 seconds from Watson back to Schlosser. And if you're Watson, this is not the end of the world. That Miranda's only 1 spot ahead of you. But it does mean you'll have to beat him by 2 spots at an oval race next week where, quite honestly, it could very well be just a toss-up.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I'm sure James came into tonight wanting to at least get a podium, but I think finishing 4th, 1 position.
Gunter's off! Gunter's off the track, and Budweiser, the race leaders are... Engrave is through. Oh my goodness. It's happened again. How did it happen?
Well, we're going to go take a look. Let me try and find it here. And this is coming uphill towards Budweiser. Oh, and he just gets loose. That left-hander doesn't even get to the right-hander yet, and he gets loose going up the hill. Goes off track, has to back it down, back onto the racetrack. But as long as Engrave does not make a mistake here with 3 laps to go, it is all Engrave right now. Gunter still out in front of Miranda. You mentioned the 12-second gap. That has served him well. Gunter still sits in 2nd.
Yeah, but he will be very disappointed to be back in that position, 7 seconds behind Hunter Engrave. But you're right, a very similar fate could befall Engrave here. He is not infallible tonight. Nobody has been.
I'm not sure what's happened to Watson, but Watson now over 2 seconds up to Miranda, so just as quickly as they come together, they just as quickly fall apart.
2 laps to go, 5 miles for Hunter Engrave. After James Watson last week became the first repeat winner of the season, Engrave looking to be the 2nd. Engrave again, off the track there in Castrol. not in danger of picking up a penalty. Unless things really go sideways here in the final 2 circuits. Gunter has closed back up. It's right around 5 seconds. But that is not enough. Not to be Captain Obvious. White flag. Purple lap for Gunter. Driving angry. I mean, nearly the purple lap by 3/10 on anybody else.
Well, we know there's no quit in him. He's
No.
going to give it everything he has all the time. It's just not going to be enough here today.
He is taking a beating of late. Running up front at Bristol, crashed out. Running up front at Kentucky, crashed out. And what might have been again here today, similar troubles to Sonoma. But at least this time he'll nab a podium. And at his expense, Hunter Engrave down the main straight. Engrave will sweep the California road courses. Hunter Engrave takes Willow Springs. Gunter in second. Watson pushing hard there through the final turn, trying to close in on Miranda, but it's not enough. Miranda will round out the podium and set up a championship battle for the ages. The closest we've ever had 2 competitors be heading into the final race of the Daredevil series. Watson had it locked up by this point last season. And tonight he'll be 110 points behind heading into next week. How about a conga line?
Engrave is enjoying this slow trip around the track with competitors in tow.
I think this could be our tradition. We could just have everybody that's left running get in a pace lap formation and do a whole full lap slow.
Some places that would be a long time.
Yes, it would. I can't imagine we're going to get anything but a disappointed Brody Gunter here, and rightfully so. But again, he ran 29 great laps here tonight.
I'm not sure I want to ask him a question tonight, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can say.
Career win number 5. It ties him with James Watson, second all-time in the Daredevil Series wins list. And he and Watson, the only 2 drivers to win multiple races this season. Heading into the final round next week, Engrave not in contention for the title, but has moved himself up to 3rd in the point standings. Well, an interesting race here tonight. One that saw a lot of trouble for a lot of drivers. Nobody finishes with 0x tonight. Hunter Engrave will take the win. Brody Gunter will finish in second. And Bruno Miranda will finish in P3. Hopefully we'll talk to all 3 of these drivers momentarily. 4th place for James Watson. 5th for Matt Schlosser. Didn't really mention him at all tonight, but he'll round out the top 5. Dakota DeMade in P6. Victor Aldrich in 7th. Cody Claiborne in 8th. Christopher Kresge and Corey Rutherford round out the top 10. A debut P11 for Kyler Thomas. He's the last driver running, as Derek Wright will DNF down in 12th, Nate Siefker in 13th, Joshua Rutherford, and Zach Flaum. The 15 drivers who took the green flag here tonight. Going in search of Bruno Miranda. I sure don't see him anywhere. So we may move on to our P2 finisher who has just jumped into the booth. We will talk to P2 first. Brody Gunter, welcome back to the booth. It was a great race for you. I'm sure not the finish that you were looking for tonight.
No, definitely not. I'm still looking at it right now, trying to figure out what caused that, because I don't get how turning right on the steering wheel makes the car spin out leftward.
Yeah, that's we'll drop the conspiracy board after the race for you, but I don't really know what to say. You ran a nearly race tonight, piping in purple laps all the way up until the drop of the checkers there. And we navigated the lap traffic really well here tonight, even through a couple of close calls. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just very confusing race, I guess. But I gotta congrats Hunter on that well-deserved win. I mean, he definitely was. I'd say the person that gave me the biggest run for money the entire race. But yeah, very disheartening to then spit out and then run 3 back-to-back 104s, 6s and 7s. It's like, oh well, that's always nice.
Matt, what do you got?
Well, I mean, still congrats on a great finish. I mean, had the speed here tonight, obviously. And the speed, I mean, this was almost like a sprint race, a pretty short race here tonight. Seemed like everybody knew it. There were lots of mistakes made through the field, but I think it's just because everybody felt like they had to give their all-out quali lap almost every lap. Is that kind of how it felt like that on the track?
Definitely. It was a very difficult track. Obviously, this track's crazy because there's nothing to use as references. Again, I like using my classic breaking point for the last turn of a building that's like 10 miles out from the actual racetrack. When it crosses the dash, that's when I brake for the last turn. That's always it's a very hard, challenging track, and you gotta do stuff like that. But it was fun because it's a lot of high-speed corners. You get that nice uphill section that's actually like you have to slow the car down for you, and you have a ton of grip, and all of a sudden you don't down the hill.
Well, I haven't found that building yet. I guess I'll have to look for it a bit hard next time I'm making laps around here. But yeah, congrats on a podium. I know you've had just a really rough streak of late, so I want to say thank you to you for sticking it out. I think you're going to take top newcomer honors, if I'm not mistaken, this season, just by way of who didn't show up tonight. So, I mean, it's been a successful season. I know you're still wanting that win, but you got Indy next week, so maybe we can look for it there. But in the meantime, anybody you want to shout out or say hi to?
My mom and dad. I guess you guys. But like you said, it's a very fun event. I do actually enjoy coming to it sometimes. The days
you enjoy coming but not leaving.
The days you can actually finish all the laps are a lot of fun, for sure. But yeah, hopefully that win's definitely coming.
I think it is. I think it'll be sooner rather than later. But yeah, go celebrate the P2, and we'll talk to you again here soon.
All right, sounds good, guys.
We did have our third place finisher hop up into the booth. So we'll talk to Bruno Miranda. Congratulations on the podium.
Oh, thank you very much, guys. This track's very dangerous. It's my first race here. I think I stay on the track and finish the race only.
It looked very difficult out here tonight, especially for a few of the drivers who are still learning this track. What does it take to learn the track this quickly and be that fast?
I don't know. These tracks have a hard level. I think it's so difficult to stay in the track, and this car lose the front all the time that in the first laps, because the tires are cold, so it's difficult to stay in the track. So my strategy is to stay on track and not take mistakes and finish the race. So I'm my first time here, and I think I don't like this track.
That's fair. Matt, do you have a question for our points leader?
Yeah, first of all, congratulations. Yeah, I mean, this tough track, finishing on the podium and not getting off track too much, I think is a success. But heading to next week, it's the final round. Indianapolis historically has always been very wild and crazy. How are we feeling going into Indianapolis next week with the points lead?
Guys, I don't know because I think James Watson in oval tracks is very hard and have experience in this car, and he's championship defend championship. So for me, stay in this position in championship for me is a surprise. I don't expect anything in this championship, and because I don't have I don't know, I don't learn this car. I practice and learn in the races and learn watching the Hunter brother James driving, and I copy these guys. So I don't know. Expected for next week. I think it's a very difficult track, and last 2 seasons I leader the race and crashing in the final lap. Everybody's crashing, and I not finished that race.
That was certainly a wild one. You've been very good on the ovals this season, so it should be an exciting race next. Congratulations to you on the podium. Do you have anybody that you want to say hello to?
I thank you my team, Willow Export. Thank you my team owner, Gregorio Dosso, and Octavio Rodolito stay with me and talk to me about this car, and he a championship in the last 2 seasons. So congratulations everybody staying in the podium, brother Rante. Congrats James. It's a very hard race with him, and thank you the guys stay in the broadcast. Thank you guys too.
Oh, thank you. We'll talk to you again next week.
Oh, I hope so.
All right, that was Bruno, P3 finisher. We will now talk to your race winner for the second time this season, Hunter Engrave. Winds up with the top spot. Congrats on the win.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'm sure probably not how you wanted to do it, but P1 falls in your lap there. You have to execute still with Brody beating down the door with faster laps even after the mistake there late in the going. And you also have to be in that position to capitalize in the first place. So I think you did a pretty good job here tonight, all things considered.
Yeah, thank you. I feel bad for Brody. That was 100% Brody. Brody had the pace on me and everything, and I was just trying to stick with him, try to do different things during the race, and kept going off track and had a few oh crap moments. But at least there was so much sticking with them. I thought I'd try to pit 1 lap earlier. That was the last minute call. So I kind of came a little close to speeding on the pits. But I caught him a little bit, but he was still just way faster than me. It was kind of cool, though, that me and him got to pull away from the other guys that are usually really quick, like Bruno and James. So, yeah, no, it was cool, but it was 100% Brody's to win, for sure.
Well, Brody mentioned it, and I'll point it out as well. A lot of the bought this track tonight, or just in the last week or so. You and Brody had the advantage of us putting this on the ASRL schedule last season, so you've at least logged some laps around here. But I don't know how helpful that is. Brody mentioned it. There's no breaking points anywhere on this track. You got to create your own. I mean, was that an advantage heading into tonight?
A little bit. GT3s and Lotus are a little different. I prefer more the Lotus than the GT3s for sure, though. They stick a little bit better, but I know the braking points were interesting. I was trying to use some really bad ones like lights, garbage cans, concrete spots where they started. I was trying to figure out any way to figure out, but I still kept messing up in a few spots and was running a little wide. So, but no, it was a little bit of advantage just to know the track layout, but overall, everything else he still kind of had to figure out.
I mean, there are a couple of porta-johns on the track. They could have at least put them in locations that would be useful as braking zones. Maybe I'll run that up the flagpole and see what I get. Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, just congratulations. I mean, when you see Brody off and you know you're going through, I mean, is it a sigh of relief, or do you not really think about it too much and just try to keep going until the checkered flag drops? I mean, what kind of goes through your head there?
Yeah, no, it's kind of like an old crap moment because it's like, oh, I'm in the lead now, but now you have the chance to mess up too now. And I don't know Brody too well yet, but over the last month I've known him, usually if he spins, he gets really fast because he keeps trying to push it. So I knew he was coming towards the end. I just had to kind of keep the car on track, and it did good. I had probably with 2 laps to go almost went off, but no, he was coming really fast towards the end. I think if there was 2 more laps, he would have got me again. But yeah, no, you get really nervous when you see the leader spin out because you know you can do the exact same thing. So,
well, it's another win for you. 5th of your career here with the Daredevils, racking them and stacking them of late. So, congrats to you. Anybody you want to shout out or say hi to?
Yeah, my mom, my dad, for always rooting me. You guys for always doing an amazing league. This is probably the last time I'm on the podium because I know I'm an ovals, luck's going. So I just want to say thank you guys for an awesome season always. You guys always do a phenomenal job running this league, so I really do appreciate that a lot.
Your luck has definitely been pretty bad of late, but hopefully we'll talk to you again next week at Indy. Hopefully at least you'll have some fun to close things out. But congrats on the win here tonight. Go party hard. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
And yeah, by the way, if we haven't hyped it up enough, next week, Daredevils at Indianapolis. The Holy Duo is back together to wreak havoc. One of the all-time great finishes, maybe the greatest finish in this channel's history, happened with the Daredevils at Indianapolis. It's the last time they've been together. They're back next week, and it is going to be with the championship on the line once again. It is not to be missed as a driver or as a spectator. But we still got some shop to close up here tonight. So, Matt, any closing thoughts? And yeah, we'll let you do your thing here.
Yeah, I mean, it was good stuff tonight, but I think everybody's looking towards that last race, Indianapolis. It's back on the schedule here, and everybody knows what happened last time. I'm sure we'll have a preview for the folks next week in the pre-race show to remind you what happened, because I don't think anybody could really forget it. But I mean, it's interesting because of course Octavio Rondoletto ended up winning that championship. We have a former teammate of his now, and Bruno Miranda, trying to win the championship. Could the same thing kind of happen again? I don't know. We'll see. But you're not going to want to miss it, that's for sure. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us here tonight. Good to see Goyo in the chat here. Thanks to Goyo, Goodleaf, Joshua Rutherford, Reflection X, Brian, and I guess that was it. And myself. Myself was in there as well. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching the Daredevil series. Appreciate it. And tell your friends for next week. It's going to be a show you will not want to miss.
Absolutely. Another show you don't want to miss tomorrow. Seemingly the hot ticket here on iRacing of late, the Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series. They roll into the last Great Coliseum tomorrow night right here on Turn 200. Max V Trucks at Bristol. I mean, we've had 4 absolute banger races to open the season. No hyperbole, no BS. It is a must-see event tomorrow night when they roll into the high banks of concrete down in Bristol, Tennessee. Virtually, of course. And we've got more action this week. One more series. It is the return of the Mission Art Challenge Sunday afternoon. Top split strength of field broadcast, this time from Okayama, where we had one of our great moments of 2023 last season with the PMR crew. They are back here once again this coming Sunday afternoon at, I think now 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern because of daylight savings time. You and I are both going to have to remember that. I guess we'll be an hour early at worst. Yeah. So, but there you go. 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern. It's the time there for Okayama for the Mission Hour Challenge. And yes, be here next Wednesday nights around this same time for Indianapolis to close out season number 4. And if you're a driver still hanging out with us here, don't forget the driver vote for next season's schedule is going up sometime here within the next 15 to 30 minutes. But that is all we got for you here tonight. If you are not subscribed already on your way out of the stream, please do that. Every little bit helps us in our quest to get to 1,000 subscribers. And we're not too far away in the grand scheme of things. So appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with us here tonight. Thank you to the drivers of the Daredevil series. Thank you to the GOAT, the one and only Mr. Matt Williamson. Until we meet again, I'm Tommy Cook, saying so long from Big Willow, where Hunter Engrave is victorious for the second time in season number 4.